coming to you from the Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. Holy moly. Okay, so I just finished recording the two podcasts you're going to be listening to pretty soon. And I finished it at about a 15-minute recording of just locked in on, my podcast and sports and all of that. And as I close everything, I've got my file saved, I look in my phone, and my buddy sends me a post from the NFL, and I know when this specific buddy does that, it's going to be something pretty big. And it was just that. Trae Lance, former third overall pick, traded to, of all places, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, for a conditional 4th round pick. Now, I heard this information 15 minutes ago. I'm totally going off the top of my head, no script here. But there's two angles I want to look at this from. I want to look at this from the 49ers perspective and then from the Cowboys perspective, but I want to start with 49ers. This has got to be the single greatest draft bust of all time, right? So they trade 3 first-round picks to move up to 3rd overall. Let's never forget this. At this point, when you trade up that high for a pick, you usually have a player in mind who you want to select, right? They didn't. They didn't know if they were going to take Trae Lance, Mac Jones, Justin Fields was still available at that point. But because they already had Jimmy Garoppolo, a serviceable enough quarterback, they take Trae Lance, the biggest project maybe ever coming out of college. The raw talent was so obvious, but he played Div 2 football and had taken about 400 snaps in his career as he opted out in his draft year because of COVID. So they take him and say, yeah, this is going to be the project. Jimmy starts first year. Trae gets a couple starts, looks fine. And the year after that, they pretty much force Jimmy Garoppolo out of the building and say, yep, Trae Lance, this is our starter. We got this. Trae Lance is that guy. So he plays his first week 1 game in a tornado practically where he can't throw the ball. They end up, I can't remember if they won or lost that game. Anyways, he only threw about 10 passes, didn't do anything. And then in week 2, he got hurt 5 plays in. So that's his NFL career so far. And he was taken 3rd overall. So all I want to know is, like, what changed between the time he broke his leg and now? He was the unquestioned starter. They had moved on. Trae was the starter. I heard every single Shanahan quote was, yeah, Jimmy, I appreciate his services, but we're ready to move in a new direction with Trae as the starter. He couldn't practice on that broken leg, as far as I know, unless he was doing some wheelchair throws and wasn't looking good. What new information did they have that makes them think Sam Darnold is going to be a better backup for their team than Trae Lance is? Like, we've seen Sam Darnold in Carolina and with the Jets. He is a below average quarterback. No question about it. And their starter isn't exactly a superstar. He is a guy who is literally nicknamed Mr. Irrelevant, who just had off-season elbow surgery. So Trae Lance has got to be pretty bad if he's going to be 3rd in the depth chart behind those 2 guys. But what I don't understand is, what did he do to make the Niners think he was this bad? There's no possible way training camp dropped him 2 spots on the depth chart. That just doesn't happen. And this is unbelievable mismanagement from the 49ers, who are usually a top 5 most competent front office. But this is like owning a company and not being able to get your CEO right. Like, the quarterback at this point in the NFL is your team. It is your offense. Like, Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl last year with Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney as his top receiving options, and 4 rookies in the secondary. It's all about your quarterback. And the way the Niners have fumbled their quarterback situation over the years by making Jimmy Garoppolo the highest paid quarterback ever and trading up 3 first-round picks, which turned into Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Bradley Chubb for the Dolphins. Holy crap, what a trade by them. We got to look at this from the Dolphins' perspective too. What a franchise-altering trade from the Miami Dolphins. Like straight highway robbery. But the Niners, man, like for an organization that's usually so competent with their resources, so smart at building defenses, offenses, and just competency all around. The fact that they can't get the biggest position right and have fumbled this third overall pick this badly is mind-boggling to me and makes me think that they're going to take a huge step back because I think Purdy's fine. He's not what they thought Trey Lance was going to be. He's definitely not he's definitely not Matthew Stafford or even Jared Goff or any other of these quarterbacks in the NFC. I think he's fine. Man, the Niners have fumbled this bad, but I can't. It's so crazy that an organization that's usually run so smooth could make this big of an error. Both, I don't even know if he's a bust or not. No matter what, if he turns out to be great, it doesn't matter anymore. The Niners just made one of the biggest fumbles in NFL history with such a great window of Super Bowl opportunity. They're never going to have a roster this good again. Oh my gosh. This has got to hurt if you're a Niners fan, man. This has really got to hurt. So I'd love to spend another 15 minutes talking about the Niners, but I do want to get to the Cowboys side of this, which in typical Dallas Cowboys fashion is probably just as interesting. So Dak Prescott is Kirk Cousins, if he was black, had really good leadership intangibles and could make a play here or two with his legs. He's average to above average at best. He's a fine quarterback. Doesn't it kind of remind you of someone the Niners used to have on their team? Maybe their old starting quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Dallas is doing what the 49ers did, except with a better version of Garoppolo, who they're not eager to move off of. I think they're fine with Dak, but if they can somehow turn Trey Lance into what the Niners thought he was going to be, this is a home run, man. This is a home run. I love this move for Dallas. He gets to sit behind Dak, who's a consummate pro, one of the best guys in the league. He's going to learn a lot about leadership from Dak. As restricted as I think he is talent-wise, there's no question he's the alpha dog of that team. He gets to learn from that. And Dak can be an above average quarterback for this team while Trae potentially fulfills his potential. I don't know. I don't see it as a bad move for the Cowboys at all. It makes perfect sense to me. But the only thing is, if Dak happens to get hurt, I don't think Trae's even a serviceable backup yet. I think it's going to take him a couple of years, which I think is the only risk for the Cowboys. If Dak goes down, I think they're in trouble. Because the way Lance has been playing in the preseason and even in the starts that I've seen from him, it makes me think he can't really keep the ship afloat. I could be wrong about that, but that's my opinion right now. But if you think about it like this, if you have Dak for the next 1 to 2 years above average, because you need to understand about the Cowboys, they're all about ratings. They're all about being good enough that people talk about them. So you got Dak for the next 2 years, just above average. And the chatter is all going to be, oh, what if Trae has gotten better under this system with Mike McCarthy, which has been very quarterback friendly in the past? And could he take Dak's job? Could Trae finally fulfill the potential everyone thought he was going to have when he got drafted with another couple years of experience and a new system, new fresh start? It's more talk about the Cowboys, which is what Jerry wants. This is a home run for Dallas in more ways than one, both for their brand, for their potential future. If Lance can get his act together, there's no better spot he could have landed because Dallas isn't eager to move off their quarterback, but they could. I love the signing for Dallas, a conditional 4th rounder. Holy moly. It's absolute steal for the Cowboys. Really into that. And the Niners fumbled this as bad as they possibly could have. There's triumph in this, and it's so interesting that they traded him to Dallas, who they just beat last year. What if Trey Lance beats the Niners in a Cowboys uniform? Oh my gosh, the theater of it. There's so much more I have to say on this, but I feel like I should get my thoughts together completely before I go any longer on this. In short, the Niners fumbled this as bad as they possibly could have. Dallas made a great move with Dak steering the ship while Trae potentially becomes a superstar with that potential. Because we all know he's either going to be a superstar or a bust. There's no in between for this guy. If he becomes a superstar, replaces Dak. If he's a bust, no big deal. They still got Dak. Great move for the Cowboys. Anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. What do you guys think of this move for the Niners? Is this... I don't know how you can think anything other than the Niners fumbled this terribly and just complete incompetence at the quarterback position. But if you don't, please let me know how. Very interested to find out. How do you think this is going to work out for Dallas? Will Trae be the starter there one day? Or will he just be a backup behind Dak who can make a couple plays here and there? Thank you as always for watching. The Spit Show comes out every other day. And as always, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next.